Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
And thank you very much, Ken Johnson, on this very muggy, humid April 19th. We are live as always. This is Sports Scene. Sports Scene is an interview show each Wednesday from 12 to 1. Also invite you to watch Sports Highlights, the TV program, on nnpstv.com. Tell your friends about 1650. Twitter, at Greg Bick, at Sports Highlight, at GJBTV, and HROnlineMall.com. Thank you, as always, to our producer, Joe Daniel, as well. Thank you to our military. Boy, they have been busy lately. Guest lineup as well. Wayne Nooe from Kings Mill will be previewing the golf tournament coming up next month in beautiful Williamsburg. Sponsors both on GJBTV.com and Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. Guest lineup presented by Mi Casita Mexican Restaurant with 2 great locations in Virginia Beach to serve you fine Mexican food. You can see their link on Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. Phone line presented by Outback Steakhouse in Virginia Beach in the Kempsville section. Well, Wizards in the NBA playoffs. We'll talk to Dave Johnson in the second half hour, the voice of the Wizards. NFL TV schedule any day now. Look for that. The NFL draft coming up soon. Major League Baseball in full swing. The Tides in action. Sponsors this month on WHKT for this show, Crawl Space Stores, Finks, Me Hogar, and the Newport News Greek Festival going on June 1st to June 4th. Also, great interviews, business segments, highlights, commentary, what teased me off. Thank you for making the habit to listen to Sports Scene each Wednesday from 12 to 1. We love our regulars and newcomers. Shout out to Penny Brown, who listens to the show always as well, and also Mr. Davenport of Newport News, who both made nice comments about Sports Scene when I saw them recently as well. You can always follow it on tunein.com by typing WHKT in the search box. Stay tuned.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Finks Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win Automotive products. Finks does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Like them on Facebook and visit them at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 485-5555 today.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to GJBTV.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene on 1650 AM and TuneIn.com.
All right, welcome back to Sports Scene on this April 19th. Hope everybody did their taxes. Of course, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. We'll lead it off with Wayne Nooe. We've had him on Sports Highlights. We've had him on Sports Scene on this station several times, and also when I worked for Red Zebra in Virginia Beach. Let's welcome from Kings Mill, the man, the myth, the legend, Wayne Nooe. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Greg. How about yourself?
Great. It was good to see you yesterday. And first of all, tell us your thoughts about Media Day yesterday overall.
Well, I thought we had a really good turnout. We've had changed it up just a few years back, where we do our sponsor meeting prior to it, and give all our sponsors their tickets and so forth, and explain everything, and then have the media come in after that. So it's turn it into a nice day. Have a lot of people attend, and I thought Media Day went great. The tournament staff did a really nice job with the day, and I thought that we had some interesting stories from the players we had.
Right, it really was a beautiful day at Kings Mill. Glad to be part of it as well, as we're talking to Wayne Nooe from Kings Mill. Wayne, before we talk about the event coming up next month, let's talk about Kings Mill itself, about the ownership, and kind of give us the lay of the land since you've been there up until today.
Well, I've been here quite some time now. It'd be almost 16 years, and so seen a lot happen over those 16 years. But we were recently purchased about 6 weeks ago by a company called Escalante Golf, and it's pretty exciting times. Being in the golf business and being a golf professional, to have an ownership now that is predominantly a golf company, and golf is very important to them. It means a lot, and I think the future's pretty bright with the opportunity we have with them.
Well, let's talk about this year's event coming up May 15th through the 21st, the Kingsmill Championship as well. And, of course, great to have the Player of the Year, Juden Ugarn last year. What a name that is, boy. I thought my name was tough. Araya Juden Ugarn. But, of course, solid player. People are familiar with past winners. Some are playing, some are no longer playing, like Park and Pack and Kerr and Webb. But let's talk about this year's field coming up next month in beautiful Kingsmill.
Well, we're very fortunate. We have really established ourselves through the hospitality that players receive when they're at the resort. The knowledge of our volunteers and the golf knowledge of our spectators. We've become one of the favorite spots for the players on tour. And even though our purse is not one of the highest, matter of fact, it's one of the lower purse events, we still get a very strong field every year with, typically 45, 46 of the top 50 money winners in our field. And this year, again, shaping up most of the big name players that people are aware of or know of on the LPGA tours in our field. So we're pretty excited about that. And, we're a week later this year, so we had some cooler weather last year, so we're hoping that it'll be a more normalized week in May this year. And the golf course, I tell you, it's really in good shape already. I think they could play today. And it's just going to get better between now and then. So it's a pretty exciting year with a strong field and a golf course I think that's really going to challenge them this year.
We're talking to Wayne Nooe from Kingsmill about the big event coming up next month, the LPGA. Wayne, whether it was the men or the women, has it always been on the river course?
It has. We've utilized the plantation course a few times with the LPGA as the Monday qualifier course, but the tournament itself has always been played on the river course.
Very good. When you talk about the state of golf for the PGA Tour, the LPGA, before we talk about Hampton Roads, what are your thoughts about golf in general at that level, the interest level? The Golf Channel has been involved with your tournament for several years. Prior to that, ESPN was involved with the women's tournament, and of course back in the men, NBC was there for a long time as well as ESPN.
Right. Well, I think actually we're seeing a little bit of uptick in golf. Golf is from just a play standpoint is up for us this year. We had a good fall, and it's up this spring so far. I think you're starting to see some of the younger players on the PGA and LPGA tour really create some interest among fans, and I think the ratings have kind of held their own over the past couple of years. I think if there is a downside, it's just the competition for people's time. Just regular TV viewing, for that matter, is not what it used to be, and people are using Netflix and other things to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch it. But I think right now we feel pretty good about the TV coverage that we're getting for the tournament, and in this year's TV coverage for our event, it's actually tape delayed on Thursday and Friday at night, and that for us has historically been good. We've got higher ratings on the tape delay because if people are at home at night watching, whereas at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Thursday, you really don't have that many people watching golf. So we're the tape delay on Thursday and Friday, I think, will bode well from a PR standpoint for us. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we're on TV from 5 to 7 each day, which are obviously good golf times for fans.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Wayne, that's a couple good points too. You mentioned too about the popularity. You look at golf without Tiger with his injuries, and I think two things that really kind of went under the radar with golf was the loss of, when you talk about a couple players in Ochoa and Sorenstam kind of retiring young. And I think those
Yes.
are two big names that really set back the LPGA.
I would agree. I mean, they were so dominant at their time, and both had great personalities and were well liked by fans and well respected by their peers. That the LPGA did lose a lot. But now, when you look and you've got Aria, our past champion, you got Lydia Ko and Brooke Henderson, and then you still have, Lexi's not old, but she's more of a veteran player now, and Paula Creamer and Morgan Pressel and Christy Kerr. So you still have some of the names that have been around for a while. So it's a pretty good time. There is a tremendous amount of talent on the LPGA Tour right now, and the interesting thing is so many of them are under the age of 21, 22 years old.
Right.
It's pretty impressive what they're doing.
Absolutely. Talking to Wayne Nooe from Kings Mill, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. And I had Skeeter Heath on. He played in the PGA Tour, played in several U.S. Opens, and made the cut at Kings Mill way back in the early 80s about Lexi and about that whole rules thing. And he's saying it's really hard to tell. She's an honorable woman. And, of course, a lot of fans are up close and personal. He said, she said. But she's a wonderful girl. And that whole thing to me was just a bogus thing, totally.
Well, it's kind of one of those things where the rules are the rules, and I think we all understand that,
Sure.
and we all want to make sure they're playing by the rules. But you just hate to see, particularly in a major, something happen, 24 hours after the fact, in the middle of the, was she on? I think on the coming off the 12th hole on the last round of a major leading, when she found out that there was an issue, and you just hated to see the 4-stroke penalty, particularly the 2 strokes for signing a wrong scorecard. When obviously I don't think there was any intent to do that, and it's just an unfortunate circumstance. And I don't know how they're going to address the television issue, but I hope they can come up with something that to hope so that we don't run into those situations again. It's just not good for golf. It obviously wasn't good for Lexi. It wasn't good for the LPGA. And if you just look at the facts, yes, it was a breach of the rules, and yes, the rules state that you can correct it after the fact. But you just hated to see that happen, particularly under the circumstances that it did.
Right. She's a wonderful woman. And, of course, the TV people kind of like sensationalism. They like anything that'll boost the ratings, and sometimes drama is good. But like you said, it's best that everybody just moved on from that as well. Let's talk about some of the amenities for the women playing in the tournament. I know they always look forward to, like you mentioned, the events. Of course, they can't use Water Country because it's still, not quite their season yet. But I know
Right.
Busch Gardens is open, and the kids have always enjoyed it, especially when the men play there. I guess it's no different from the women either.
Well, it's interesting. The Busch Garden has been a great partner of ours for a number of years, and going all the way back to the Anheuser-Busch days. They support our event by sponsoring the Family Fun Zone, which we have set up on Saturday and Sunday. So if parents are out with small kids, they can take a break and go over, and there's bounce houses and different kids games that they can play during that time, and that's set up right at the tournament site. They also provide tickets to the players and the caddies so that during their downtime or at night they can go over and enjoy the park, and that's been a huge hit with the players. So they've really from a partnership standpoint stepped up to the plate every year and provided us access for the players and caddies, and things like that just really make an impression on the players, and they're very appreciative of that opportunity, and a lot of them are able to take advantage of it.
And Kings Mill, of course, a world-class resort. As we're talking a few more moments here with Wayne Nooe with his time, his talent, and treasure up until 12:30. Then we'll take a break and talk to Dave Johnson, the voice of the Washington Wizards. You talk about Kings Mill, of course, as a facility, helping promote it year-round, the brand of Kings Mill, which is on also social media, just like the golf event, too. You have a wonderful staff, a tournament director, a good staff. We saw them yesterday up close and personal that are putting their time, their talent, and treasure into this event and making it an all-inclusive community event, not just in Hampton Roads, but a destination that people can plan their vacation around as well.
Yeah, that was one of the things we've really worked on. And you're right, Matthew Schultz, the tournament director, and his staff do a great job. Kristen Ward, who is our partnership manager, did a very nice job yesterday with Sponsor Day and with Media Day. But that's been, I think, one of the big keys to the success of our event, going back to the men and the ladies, is that we get about 1,000 volunteers every year that participate in our event. Some of those volunteers have been with us 20, 25 years. You couldn't put on an event like this without them, and obviously the sponsorships that come from the local businesses. So it has become a community event and has been for a long time. And the spectators that come out, the players talk about how big our crowds are and how much fun the fans are here. So you're right. I wish that we could even make it a bigger event. And as we move forward under our new ownership, their goal is to grow this event and to be able to provide even more charitable contributions to the community and grow that sense of community ownership with the event.
Talking to Wayne Nooe from Kingsmill, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. Go to gjbtv.com, click the big YouTube link for archive shows as well, and of course go to the YouTube page and also tunein.com. Listen anywhere in your world on your phone or your computer. And the one thing going on in sports, all sports, Wayne, as you know, they're trying to look at ways to shorten everything. It seems like shorten Major League Baseball is too long. NFL is too long. College football is way too long with their halftime. Basketball is about the only sport that's pretty quick as far as 40 minutes for college, 48 for the NBA, but that can even last long with overtime. And like you said, people, when they go to a golf tournament, they enjoy it. It's their leisure time. They get to walk around, get fresh air, exercise. But like you said, TV, it might not be a bad thing to be on prime time because people are home from a work day as well. But the biggest thing is the demand on the time for the viewers and also people playing golf in general.
Yeah, I think, people being time deprived is something that golf's been concerned about for a long time. But, the advantage of a live event, like a live golf event like us, is it's unlike a football game or a baseball game. You don't have to be there from beginning to end to kind of enjoy it. So if you have a favorite player or a favorite time of day, you can pick and choose when you come out and how long you stay and still get a feel for it and enjoy yourself, as you said, walking around, just enjoying being outside. So the one advantage of coming to a golf tournament or an LPGA event is you can kind of pick and choose your time frame and we'll be here because they start playing, particularly on Thursday and Friday, they start at 7:15 in the morning and they play till about 7:15 at night. So anytime during that day you can come out and enjoy, and you don't have to be here the whole time to have a good time. So and then obviously on the weekend, if you want to come out and you have a favorite player, you can pick that player and find out when they're playing and come out and just follow them. So it gives you more options than just having to show up for kickoff and then when the game's over, fight the crowd to get out of the parking lot. So it gives the spectator a little more flexibility and trying to make it work into their schedule and not being forced into a schedule.
Right. Tell us your exact title, Wayne, because your title's changed as some of the 16 years you've been there.
Well, I'm the vice president of golf and sports, so I'm responsible for golf at Kingsmill as well as all the other sports activities such as tennis and marina and fitness and membership, the spa. So, I always like to say all the fun stuff.
Absolutely. How's Murray doing, the tennis guy?
He's doing well, and I tell you, he's an amazing instructor, and he's still a good player.
Yeah, absolutely. I've hit against him sometimes. He's definitely tough. When you talk about the state of golf in Hampton Roads, let's be specific to the tourists that come to Kingsmill and use the facility and what you're saying as far as people playing the sport of golf. Let's say compared to tennis. Let's be more specific there. But are people playing as much golf, or is it back to the time thing you mentioned earlier?
Well, we had seen golf become a little stagnant and fall off for the past several years. And as I'd mentioned earlier, we're starting to see a little bit of an uptick in golf. We're seeing more rounds played. We're seeing membership, people joining the club at Kings Mill is picking up. Our new ownership owns golf clubs all over the country, and they're seeing the same thing at their clubs. So we're pretty positive on golf right now. I think golf as a whole in Williamsburg is not seeing growth at every facility, but I do think that there's so many good golf courses here, and particularly for tourists, it's a great destination to travel to play golf. But we're pretty excited. We think that we're going to see some growth in golf over the next few years, and obviously golf is so dependent on weather and the economy that we've had a pretty good spring weather-wise, and the economy's been pretty good the past few months. So we are seeing some growth right now.
Well, let's talk about the club for the person who's never been to Kings Mill before. They can use the facilities as far as have a ticket and go during tournament week. They don't have to be a member. Obviously, it's open to the public with a paid ticket. But during the before and after, there were rules where that the general public could go. Then ownership and management kind of changed those rules. What about new ownership and management going forward? Is that going to be more open?
Yeah, right now our operating model is going to remain as is. We're open to members and their guests and our resort guests. That's really our core customer, and we want to make sure that our facilities are available to them. And right now that we'll maintain that moving forward.
But it's going to be all inclusive during the tournament week, where anybody can go with a paid ticket and, of course, enjoy the restaurants and everything else.
Correct.
It was absolutely
correct.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I got that clear. Final few moments here with Wayne Nooe up until 12:30. And Wayne, I guess just really there's something really for everyone. Like you mentioned, you can walk around, you can get involved in some of the vendors there. You can get something to eat. You can watch some World Championship golf for 4 straight days. There's plenty of time for autographs too in the early part of the week.
There are, and we have a great little area set up where the players walk from the 18th green up to the clubhouse, and it's an autograph alley, and it's just covered with kids all week getting autographs from players. We have some clinics for juniors on Saturday, which is always a lot of fun. We do a Women's Day on Tuesday where there's a luncheon with guest speakers, and this year there's a fashion show attached to that. We have some military components where we've got a skybox set up out on the 15th green for military, and the flag is manned by local military folks. So we do have a little bit for everyone, and while they're here on property during the tournament, if they wanted to enjoy one of our restaurants after play or go down to the marina and enjoy the sunset, it's available to the guests while they're here, and we'd love to have people come out. And I know I tell you this every year, and it's very redundant, but I am a strong believer that anytime you have a chance to see the best in the world at anything, especially if they're in your neck of the woods, you ought to take advantage of that. And, we've got the best women players in the world coming to Kings Mill once again, and we'd love to have people come out and watch them play.
Absolutely. I echo that. Been going there since I've been a kid. Wayne, all the best. Good seeing you yesterday, and we will see you next month. Good luck for the event in May.
Thank you. And if you're looking for tickets, the KingsMillChampionship.com, you can buy them right online.
Very good. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Greg.
All right. Stay tuned for the news, folks. More of Sports Scene coming up.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email the show, bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
All right, welcome back to Sports Scene. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Wayne Nooe from Kings Mill. This is Highlights, GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows. Visit all the pages of gjbtv.com and HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Save the date each Wednesday for Sports Scene from 12 to 1, right here on 1650 AM, 10,000-watt voice of Hampton Roads. TuneIn.com, type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. And, of course, go to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link for archive shows as we tweet it as well and put it on Facebook. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, visit. Of course, Outback Steakhouse in Virginia Beach at 1255 Fordham Drive in Kempsville. Delicious appetizers, entrees, and desserts. Great dining room, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Give them a call at 523-4832. Find them on social media. Salmon, steaks, burgers, kids menu, beverages, desserts. It's all right there by Mike and the great staff at 1255 Fordham Drive in Kempsville. Outback Steakhouse, the premier restaurant in Virginia Beach. Catch the new wave as your Norfolk Tides take the field at beautiful Harbor Park. Bring your friends and family to root on the Orioles of tomorrow. Log on to NorfolkTides.com for more information on season tickets, groups, and merchandise. Follow the Tides on Twitter and Facebook for up-to-date promotions and player moves. Tides Baseball, see the green. Well, as you know, we carry a lot of Washington Wizards games. We've had them on Sports Scene before, but before we get to Dave Johnson, let's get a playoff update from Dave Johnson.
Go ahead, tug on Superman's cape. I'm Dave Johnson with the Washington Wizards Shooter-Out Report. Wizards and Hawks Game 2 tonight at Verizon Center. Marching Gorton of the Wizards up against the Hawks, Dwight Howard, a.k.a. Superman. They were teammates in Orlando.
I bleed every day in the practice, and I learned to play a tough basketball, and he made me who I am today. I was going against animal in the practice, and imagine the stuff that's going on here in the game. Imagine the same stuff going on 3 times harder in the practice where you don't have whistles, fouls, and stuff like that.
It will be physical, and head coach Scott Brooks.
We have to be able to just keep moving our feet, but we also have to, be disciplined in doing and guarding the man in front of you.
And a chance to go up 2 games to none, Bradley Beal.
As far as having the city behind us, that's a great feeling. It's a lot of pressure, for us young guys. But at the end of the day, this is something we love to do, something we always dream about, and we have a great opportunity to be able to do something special.
Coverage of the Wizards and Hawks on 645 on the Washington Wizards Radio Network.
All right, welcome back to Sports Scene. Dave Johnson, it is your birthday, correct, my friend?
It is, and then all I need is a win tonight for a birthday. So it's a good day to celebrate. So looking forward to that tonight. But thanks for the kind wishes, and it's a good day when there's playoff basketball involved.
Just do a real quick reset, folks. I've known Dave since he was at the Naval Academy doing games for basketball way back, and I was doing George Mason. I'm proud to know him as a friend for several years, and, of course, we carry the Wizards games. He's the voice of the Wizards. You've seen him on Comcast Sportsnet. He's been on this show before several times, as well as he does soccer as well for DC too. So, and, of course, great anchoring and doing some stuff at WTOP as well. Dave, let's talk about it now. We are in the postseason, a great time of the year. This is where you make your mark. The Wizards are up 1-0. First of all, do you like the stretch going from Sunday to Wednesday?
I think for this team, I'm not sure how it's going to impact results. I will say this: the Wizards, finished with a very road-heavy schedule, and I know it was 12 out of 18 on the road in March. And then still we had some road games, we had more road games regular season. So the last month and a half really just seemed like one long road trip. The team would come home and maybe play 2 home games and back out on the road. So I actually think it is good just for this team to get a couple extra days at home and just regroup. The team finished on a 2-game road trip in Detroit and Miami, and didn't get back from Miami until last Thursday. So I think it does work out because it's, we're going to get into hopefully a long playoff rhythm here, but and it's going to get really busy, and it's going to be a lot of back and forth. So that extra day probably is, you could argue, well, you got to see it going, let's keep it going. But I think in this case, the Wizards, I don't know if needs the right word, but I don't think the day off hurts.
Right, I totally agree because that was a long grind, a lot of West Coast trips toward the end of the season, 82 full games, a preseason, and the team has been pretty healthy for the most part, but it's nice to have that break as well. Well, let's talk about what are the keys in tonight's game against the Hawks, who are going to be hungry. They're down 1-0. Both teams are rested. And let me ask you a couple players that usually come off the bench, and Satoransky and Bogdanovich. What is their status? We saw Burke play really well in the last few games of the season. How big is this bench going to be tonight?
Well, the bench, will be important, and again, that's part of the great thing about playoffs is that you're playing the same team, and so there's going to have to be adjustments. The Hawks will make adjustments. The Wizards will have to make some adjustments. The bench has been one of the great stories about the second half of the season for the Wizards. It did not, reach those levels on Sunday in the playoff opener. Was some of that, playoff nerves, jitters? Who knows? It just was a bench that can perform better than it did, and the Wizards will look to have that tonight. And so, I think they've got some veterans on the bench now, like Brandon Jennings, Bojan Bogdanovic, Jason Smith he was such a big part of the Wizards' push the entire season, and really did not have much of an impact on Sunday. So, they'll look to respond tonight, and quite frankly, they'll need to, because it's the playoffs. Just things change from game to game. So the guy that was leading scorer in the last game might not be the leading scorer this time.
Yeah, the Wizards were 49-33 during the regular season, 1-0 in the postseason, of course, and division title champs in 17. And, of course, playing in the East against the Hawks, new coach in Brooks, who coached OKC for several years. They started off slow, but it takes about 15 games, in my opinion, or 20 even. That's the good advantage of having an 82-game schedule for a new coach with some new players and a new roster, and to gain that credibility and trust. But, boy, he sure has now. This team, to me, is really gelling at the right time. And you're looking at Boston, who's already down 0-2. Everything is right there in front of the Wizards.
Yeah, Scott Brooks is showing why he had the kind of success he had in Oklahoma City. Yes, there's talent, and there's always going to be talent involved when you're winning in the NBA. But it's what you do with that talent, how you groom that talent, how you develop that talent. And under his watch, in Oklahoma City, guys like James Harden became superstars. They weren't before. Russell Westbrook developed under his watch, and so. I think we're seeing that with the Wizards, and we're seeing the sort of guy he just knows what he's doing. I think about how his demeanor has not changed since they were 2-8. During that whole period of time, there was not a sense of panic, a sense of worry. There was just a sense of he really did believe in this team, and I think the players had to feel that, and they obviously did, and they responded to that. The best way is they backed up his conviction and belief in them with incredible 17-game home winning streak, and taking this team from the basement to the top of the Eastern Conference. So that's why I think this is definitely a team that is built for the playoffs in terms of it's ready to accept and deal with challenges, and it's a team that 17 times this year was down by double digits and won. So Scott Brooks, I think, described the team as being fearless, and so they do have we might be in trouble now, but we're going to find a way out of it attitude.
Right, and I think Jennings has really given them an energy boost. Of course, he's played with the Bucks and the Knicks before, and sometimes he's a little bit too fancy with his dribbling and passing for my liking. But, people always talk about Beal and Wall, but, Porter, Keefe, Gortat, Jennings, they've all been, of course, Oubre, all very good elements for this team because it's been a total team effort, and you try to take care of business at home, and the road will take care of itself. But like you said, this team has really grown, and they seem like they really like each other and like playing with each other, and that's very important too.
Yeah, no, there's got to be, it's chemistry or whatever that word is, and that's when teams start to really have success, when there is there's a trust between each other on both offense and defense, and you just sense it in the way a team plays, and certainly. You sensed it on Monday as they dealt with the Atlanta Hawks and dealt with some speed bumps. On Sunday against the Atlanta Hawks and it came through with a 7-point win. So, it's great in a team sport when you see a team, truly at both ends of the floor, start to find a rhythm and have success.
Yeah, 48-minute tidal wave, and of course things can change dramatically. Of course, sometimes it's the hot hand or whatever. What else has surprised you about this year's team compared? You've been part of the Wizards and the Bullets for 20-plus years.
I think surprise is the word, but I think with this team, just the number of ways they will win. You know, yeah, Wall and Beal clearly are the sparks that stir things, but there's been games where Wall won't score or Beal won't score, but you'll have other people who step up. You'll have nights when the bench maybe doesn't score, but then a night when the bench scores 60, 65 points. So I think what's been a pleasant, storyline is just that there've been a bunch of storylines, and and Otto Porter at one point was leading the league in that 3-point field goal percentage, but he's not a guy that demands his shots. He fits into whatever is offensively happening on that night. He is good in concert with our broadcast at the time. He takes a Dennis Rodman-like role in terms of he's not the biggest guy on the floor, but he'll find a way to 9 rebounds. And so I think it's just the number of ways that this team steps in and makes winning basketball plays. And that gets back to, Scott Burke's philosophy of it's not how many minutes, it's the quality of minutes. And, he doesn't want people thinking in how many minutes or how many points did I get. It's really about the big picture. And so then you have to get players to buy into the big picture. He's done that.
Right, talking to Dave Johnson. Dave, what else has surprised you about the East so far in the early part of the postseason, which started last weekend? Cleveland's up 2-0. Chicago won 2 games on the road against a Celtics team that is reeling from Isaiah Thomas's family loss. And, of course, Toronto and Milwaukee are going at it each other as well.
Yeah, I guess obviously the surprise would be the Bulls. It's hard to win on the road in the playoffs in this league, and the Bulls have not only done once, but they've now done it twice. So, I think that's needless to the big shocker. We know the Bucks are a team that quite frankly the Wizards, probably wanted to avoid because there's a wild card element about them, and they're going to play hard and compete, and they've got some talent. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in that series. It seems like the Cavaliers in the end are going to have the will to find a way to advance, and they seem like they always do, and that's a very good and deep Cavaliers team. And so I think right now is just if this Celtics Bulls series does not change, and the fact the Bulls pull off this upset, that's a big one.
And how about in the West?
I think the West, you got to watch for what else is it? The Utah Jazz. What do they have? Because I believe they have a very good team that's underrated and can be very difficult to deal with. I think the Golden State Warriors are going to, will out and do what they do because they're just that good. Again, at both ends of the floor, you've got to get it done. Both ends of the floor. But I think Utah. As we're just a couple games into this playoff series, it's anything can still happen, and I think the Jazz is a team that intrigues me, and I think is if not this year is one to watch for down the road.
Right, they've got a lot of good elements. The Jazz do, and of course they're winning and. It'll be interesting, of course, tonight. You want to get that 2-0 start to go on the road. That's so important. Tell the audience out there, as we're talking to Dave Johnson, the radio voice of the Washington Wizards in the NBA, some of the other things that you do. We mentioned WTOP. You're very involved in soccer as well as sports anchoring on radio and TV both.
Yeah, no, my soccer season started as well for DCNI, which is on News Channel 8, and I know we're still trying to get other affiliates. The CW in Richmond is carrying us, and I know we're trying to get an affiliate again in Norfolk, but it's my 22nd or 23rd year or something like that doing DCNI, which is the development of soccer in this country is beyond what I ever thought it could be, especially on a professional level. So we're into another exciting Major League Soccer season, and still very involved in all sports in the sense that I'm the sports at VA.You Radio, which is the all-news station in Washington, D.C. And this is the time of year that we've got, the Cavs, the Wizards, the Nationals now going, and, the Redskins and this and that. So it keeps you busy and engaged because there's so much. And then, the colleges is, Washington, D.C. being the center in so many ways of the region. We've got grads that were big Virginia Tech fans, or VA.You, or Old Dominion. You go right down the list. So it keeps us involved in all sports in the region.
And not to mention Patrick Ewing coming back to the Verizon Center as the coach of Georgetown next season, and just a lot of good fun stuff. And how about Leonsis? Does he ever? He continues to buy more and more teams. He's got a couple arena football teams too.
Washington Valor and Baltimore Brigade. And I think arena football is just a great sport that's had, ups and downs. Quite frankly, I mean, there was a period probably 10 years ago. I want to say that there was close to 20 teams, and there was a network TV deal with NBC, and there was really a sense this was becoming, almost like a third or fourth major indoor sport, but. It's hit some bad times, but the quality of the entertainment is still there, and so I think he believes the stability that obviously he can provide through his ownership, but also the ownership of the teams that are forming the Foundation League right now in Cleveland with the Cavaliers, Tampa Bay with the Lightning, and in Philadelphia you got Ron Jaworski and those people. That there's still a future for the game here, and so. In the first game of the Valor, they had a big crowd, and I think it's going to have a future because it's a good time out, and it appeals to so many demographics. So it's I think in Ted's world that you've seen what he can do to successfully market the Wizards in capitals, and that can be applied to other things. And he's not afraid to take on those challenges.
They can stay away from the heat, of course, inside the Verizon Center, too. It'll be a stretch for it to sustain, but he's got good ownership there and good management, so I think it'll be, as long as he's behind it, I think it'll be fine. We had a team down here in Norfolk 17 years ago, kind of an Arena Football League 2 team that Bruce Smith was involved in. But like you said, most people love baseball during the summer and their traditional football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey, and, of course, DC's got a tennis tournament. All right, hashtag Radio Party. Give us all the Twitter and Facebook and social media as fans can follow you. Of course, we tweet it throughout the entire time we carry your games, and we're going to be carrying more Wizards games next year. But talk about all the social media and how big a part of that is connecting with your great audience. And I'll say this to you, my 7th grade teacher mentioned he listens today as well.
Well, that's good.
How about that?
Keep him,
yeah.
Him or her listening, but
yeah.
No, we always like to, stay. I mean, it's the world we live in, which is great, where you can have that instant connectivity with broadcasting, which makes radio so great. So we always invite people to connect with us while they listen, whether they're listening on one of our great network stations, or if that's not an option, on our Washington Wizards app or the NBA app, and you can connect on Twitter at Dave J Sports. And my partner's Glenn Consors. We've been together now 10 years at GC Talks, and we call it the radio party, but it wasn't our idea. It was listeners said, hey, this is kind of like a party, and all of a sudden the hashtag radio party developed because not only did listeners connect with us, but they started to connect with each other. So, it's what draws us, to being sports fans. Also, is not only the team, but it's being a part of a community and the interaction you have with the community. So, that's been the fun part about it. It's not a passive thing, broadcasting Wizards basketball games. It's very much an active thing, and believe me, the listeners are very involved, and they get instantaneously involved through Twitter.
Well, Dave, go enjoy your birthday. Get ready for the big game tonight against the Hawks. Drive carefully out there, and all the best to you and your family for not only a great basketball season, but a great summer ahead for the Johnson family and also soccer as well.
Well, we look forward to it, and again, we're just getting started on this playoff run. It's a special time of the year. You work 6 months to earn a right to be a part of it. The Wizards have done that, and you know what? That's what makes it fun. It's not scripted, so let's just go see what happens.
I'll reach out to you again in a few more weeks. Thank you so much, Dave.
Look forward to it.
Thank you. Happy birthday. All right, Dave Johnson right there, the voice of the Wizards. Of course, Joe Daniel produces all the games. A locals tradition is CP Shuckers with locations on Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. People love their prime rib, seafood, and much more. They showcase NASCAR, Major League Baseball, NHL postseason, the NBA postseason, of course, college sports, golf, soccer, tennis. Like both locations on Facebook and log on to cpshuckers.com. Eat or be eaten at CP Shuckers. Burgers, pasta, seafood. Go by and see Chef Leon, Matt, Mark, and Chris at both Pacific Avenue and Shore Drive. And as Dave Johnson said, Wizards tonight against the Hawks in Game 2 in that postseason matchup. Soprano Italian Restaurant welcomes you to their restaurant. Enjoy unforgettable appetizers, subs, pizza, Italian dinners, and ask about their pizza special. Call 930-2350. Visit sopranoitalianrestaurant.com and go by and see Moody. CNU senior military discounts are available, and they do catering and delivery right there on Warwick Boulevard at 12588 Warwick Boulevard, right near CNU as well. Let's get to what teased me off.
What Tees You Off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
And Joe Daniel's favorite, Panera, is now the only nationwide chain that can say every item on their menu is 100% clean. They deliver. They offer catering, rapid pickup option, soups, sandwiches, salads, breakfast, beverages, bagels, smoothies. They've got it all. All their food is 100% clean. Visit their website at PaneraBread.com. Give them a call at 483-3670. Go by and see Christian and the great staff for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night right there at 6255 College Drive in Harborview in Suffolk. Great place is Panera Bread. Of course, great show today with Wayne Nooe from Kingsmill, also Dave Johnson with the Wizards, and one more item as well. Don't forget, Buffalo Wild Wings is having a great event going on as well today. April the 19th, 10% of their sales from their Newport News location will benefit the Boys and Girls Clubs as well. Great cause by Paul Odette and the friendly staff. Give them a call at 249-3999 right there on Jefferson Avenue. Go by, support the Boys and Girls Club, Buffalo Wild Wings right there in Newport News. Delicious food, of course, shareables, wedges. They've got great wings, of course, burgers, salads, tenders, wraps, sandwiches, desserts, and, of course, they give back to the community like they are today. 10% of the sales going to the Boys and Girls Club exclusively from the Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. Great party menu. Go to buffalowildwings.com and visit the Newport News location as well. All right, what teased me off, Joe Daniel, is trucks that are covered in mud thinking it's neat looking. You've seen them down the road before.
Yeah, and then the mud falls off of the truck and hits your windshield and then dirties your car.
Right. All right, this whole movies are one thing, but the movie The Fate of the Furious, really, I mean, to see car chases and violence, is that really benefit the box office or anybody, Joe Daniel?
8 movies. That's a lot. That's a huge franchise and wildly successful. I'm not too into it, but the people who are into it love it.
I'm not into it at all. I like Star Wars. I like drama. I like action, but I do not like that movie. All right, airlines. Boy, they've been in the news lately with somebody getting dragged from their seat. But how about this? Lack of food, lack of, good behavior, protocol. The seats are so tight, they're really not meant for grown men at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's very true.
I mean, they're really meant for just small pets maybe. That's it. How about allergies this time of the year? Pollen, dust, etc.
People have been going crazy with the allergies. Yeah, it's horrible. And then my wife was actually just cleaning the windows the other day, and one wipe on the window, and just the thing is caked with pollen. It was disgusting.
Thank goodness for the little rain we had.
Yeah.
Not to mention people getting red eye and allergies, like we said. How about this? This has happened to everybody. Walking into a business and nobody at the front desk to greet customers like you're saying, hello, is anybody there?
Does anybody even work here?
That's horrible. It's like, go ahead and rob me. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing at the bank or something like that. You're trying to run an errand during your lunch break, and then you walk in just like, hey, I'm in a hurry, and there's nobody around, it seems, except for like a custodian or something.
What teased me off, GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link, sponsor. Roller coasters and water rides. too big. People are getting stuck. Hello, lawsuit, trying to be like skyscrapers.
Oh, man, yeah.
I mean, getting stuck is just horrible to see that.
Yeah, getting stuck on a roller coaster or on a Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Getting stuck on a Ferris wheel, and you're at the very top. You're never at the bottom. You're always at the very top.
People driving to Busch Gardens right now saying, I'm not going to Busch Gardens. All right. People trying to outsmart people who hired themselves, meaning they withhold information about background checks or about something from their past. But with the computer age that we have, eventually it'll come out, or the old-fashioned way, word of mouth.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you try to put on a good face during your interview, of course, but information's going to get out there.
Yeah.
It's out there, so it's
from
it's
somebody,
going to be found.
Especially in the social media age we live in. Unfortunate, some sad news was that innocent man that got killed by that wacko in Cleveland. Thank God he's gone, but you have to be vigilant, Joe Daniel, no matter where you go these days.
Yeah, it's a scary, scary world, and like you said, I'm glad he's gone, but at the same time, justice wasn't served at all, and so it's a very, very sad story.
Look, relationships happen, folks. A little advice: if you break up, just try to move on without taking somebody else with you when you're doing it. I want to thank our great guest today, Wayne Nooe from Kingsmill, talking about the event coming up next month, the LPGA golf event in beautiful Williamsburg and Kingsmill. Dave Johnson, the radio voice of the Wizards. We carried 10 of their games this past season. Look forward to carrying more of the NBA right here on 1650. You can connect with me at Greg Bick on Twitter, gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, and of course, stay cool, stay safe. We'll talk to you next week. Again, gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link, tunein.com, type in WHKT, and follow Sports Scene. For Joe Daniel, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. We'll talk to you soon.
The best of News Talk Radio in Hampton Roads, AM 1650, WHKT Portsmouth. We are the answer.